Thousands of children and families in Marion County struggle with issues like poverty, substance abuse, or mental and emotional illness. Many local services exist to help families in crisis, but families often don't know about these services or can't get to them. Unmet needs can result in child abuse, neglect, or juvenile delinquency. The Early Intervention Planning Council, through the Marion County Commission on Youth's Early Intervention and Prevention Initiative, has created a plan to give families earlier access to services in the hopes of reducing the number of children who get abused or neglected or turn to delinquent acts. We hope you enjoy our monthly program, Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and learn more about the local services here to help you.
Hi, I'm Shana Martin, Director of the EIP Initiative at McCoy. Thank you for joining us for another show of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities. Our topic today is going to be on financial wellness and financial stability. This is the time of the year when folks are starting to think about what happened in 2013, how to better budget in 2014, starting to get their taxes done. So we have our guest here today from the Center for Working Families program, representing several of our community centers in the community. So Center for Working Families is a national program that's been in Indianapolis for several years and is located, again, at various locations throughout the community. So I'm going to let each one of my guests introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the community center you work at and kind of your role with the Center for Working Families program. So Tanya, start with you.
I'm Tanya McCrary, and I work with the Anna Martin Christian Center. I am the program manager for our Center for Working Families there. Primarily assist in some of the employment functions there. I work with the financial coaches and help with the income supports.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Dawn Dunderdale with the Hawthorne Community Center. We are located on the west side of town, right off of West Washington, and I'm also the program manager for our Center for Working Families.
Good morning, I'm Amy Bailiff. I'm with the John H. Bonner Community Center. We're at 2236 East 10th Street, and I am a financial coach, and with that I work with people one-on-one with budgeting, credit, and teach financial education classes, and we are also a VITA tax site.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Tanya, where is the Anna Martin Christian Center?
The Anna Martin Christian Center is located in 37th Place, which is at 25th and Keystone, right behind the Juvenile Center.
Okay, thank you very much. So tell us, what is Center for Working Families?
Center for Working Families is an initiative funded by LISC and through a local SIF, not local, but federal SIF grant. And what we focus on are three primary things, which are helping people increase their income, their net income, increase their net worth, and improve their credit score. And we do that by bundling or layering services, which would be employment services. So those who are unemployed, we want to help them find employment. And then those who have some financial resources, we want to help them at least begin to start having the conversation about saving and budgeting and tracking their spending, changing their behavior habits. And the other piece to that is working with an income supports coach, which helps individuals access resources that are available to them to help their financial situation.
Okay.
I always describe it as an intentional way of providing services so that services and coaching to help individuals and families build wealth. I kind of see building wealth as the core component of CWF. It's not about getting a job. It's not about savings. It's about wrapping around an individual and their family to help move them toward financial stability and financial security and building that wealth.
I would agree with what Tanya and Dawn have both said. We are providing that three-pronged approach where people have the opportunity to get support on the financial coaching side. They can get one-on-one support with budgeting, one-on-one support with repairing credit, with building credit, all those types of things. We provide basic financial education. That is something that we don't get in school, and so people need that. And if you aren't ever taught, how can we expect you to do everything to become financially stable and to build your wealth? So we do focus on income and expenses, and we focus on giving the services to people so that they have the positive support network around them to move further and to meet their family's financial and other goals.
So how does a person get to you? How do they apply? When are you taking applications? What do they need to do if they're watching the show and say, oh, I'm really interested in learning more and getting connected because I could really benefit from a Center for Working Families program?
I think first, the most important thing to know is that there are 6 Center for Working Families around Indianapolis. And so each Center for Working Families has a different process as far as enrolling. For the Edna Martin Christian Center, we have an orientation once a month. And so if you're interested, the best thing to do would be to call the Edna Martin Christian Center, and we would put you on our list to make sure that you got into the next orientation. And then you start with orientation. If it's something that you are interested in, then you would actually begin the enrollment process, and then services would begin.
Okay.
We have orientation twice a month. So orientation is, pretty similar, I'm sure, at all the different centers, where it's just describing the center, so we can tell people what they can expect from us as well as what we expect from them, and introduce them to the staff, show them, just give them a better idea of what's going on. At the end of orientation, they'll actually meet with our income supports coach, so we can do just kind of an initial benefits screening and see, right away if there's any assistance we can give in providing them direction toward, some kind of resource. And right at that point, if they are interested in continuing with us, then they're scheduled for one-on-one sessions with our coaches, as well as, a career success seminar.
Okay.
And at the Bonner Center, people come in to a variety of ways. Some people come in through their job club, which meets once a month. It's a week-long program. People are given the opportunity to learn more about targeted job searches, networking, resume writing, and they even have a mock interview and a resume critique, which helps them be ready to be successful in an interview and get that great job that they want. Some people come in because they are seeking rental or utility assistance or are not connected to some public benefits they might think they can qualify for. In that case, they would come in through our income supports area. Some people call and say, I would like to be more knowledgeable about my finances. Can I get connected to a financial coach? So they come in that way. And sometimes we get people through our tax site. And we also get people referred from internal programs such as children and youth and our senior program. So ours works a little bit differently, as they said. We all have a little bit different way that we function with our model, but we all have that same support of income, financial, and employment.
So if someone is making income, if they're in a job but just want to do better, want to learn how to save and all that, are there barriers to them getting enrolled? Is there a certain threshold, they can only make X amount of dollars to be a part of the Center Working for Families program?
There are no income guidelines at all. And what we found is that depending on where people are in their earnings, we kind of channel them into different savings products, savings programs, different things like that. At the Edna Martin Christian Center, we have Financial Peace University. So those who have some lucrative income but want to pay down their debt, that would be a great candidate for Financial Peace University. But someone who doesn't have as much income, that person wouldn't be a match right now for Financial Peace University. So we really look at meeting people where they are when they come in, and I think that you guys would probably agree with that. Depending on where an individual is when they actually come in, will kind of help determine what services or our approach to services for that individual.
Absolutely. Our center is very small, so we primarily have one financial coach, and then we have an additional that we share with Southeast Community Center, who is bilingual, so he helps out also. But so, Mary, our financial coach, is very good at meeting somebody where they are. If it's somebody who comes in and they're currently unemployed, we're obviously not going to start talking about how to pay off debt if there's no income. But the first thing we do want to do is, figure out, where are you? Are you at a negative or a positive at the end of the month? And, can we help figure out ways to save money? With the little bit of income you have, are you losing it because you're paying check cashing fees, or you're going to the wrong ATM and losing $3 here and $3 there? You're paying rent late every month and losing $50, And then also credit. You know, the biggest thing I tell people is credit is becoming so important that if for no other reason, you should meet with a financial coach once a year to look at your credit and make sure it's yours. You know, there's no identity theft on there. And I think all the financial coaches are trained that if there is something suspicious on their credit report, they can help them figure out what to do about it.
And I would say that we go along the same lines, that it is very important to get that information up front and people know exactly where they are in black and white. Sometimes people are surprised by what they see when we do a financial assessment with them on their first visit. We include their income of all sources, we include all their expenses, and we kind of break that down into categories so that people can look at some national averages also and see where they fall with that. One of the biggest things we see is the lower the income, the harder it is to have that housing be affordable. And transportation is the same way. A lot of times people may not have a car, but they end up paying people a lot of money in gas, and so they realize that, you know, maybe I need to look at some alternatives for my transportation. So there are a lot of different things that we can look at, and with the credit reports, as Dawn said, it's very important to take a look at that at least once a year and make sure that everything that is on there is yours. Because I see people fairly frequently that have things that aren't theirs. Sometimes if you've got a junior or senior or something like that, it gets crossed, similar names. You can have a lot of reasons that you can have something that's not yours on your credit report, and it's very important to start working on that, because especially if there's been a larger issue of identity theft, you need to get that addressed as quickly as possible, because that can take, the average identity theft takes about 600 hours to solve.
Wow.
So.
I think that the Center for Working Families is a great platform to begin to start having that money conversation. Most often our values about money are passed down generation to generation, just like any other family value. So if a family isn't having the conversation about saving, they don't know that they can save. And one of the fun facts that we give at our orientation is, I'll ask a question: how much money would you have to save every day to have $300 at the end of the year? And it ends up being about 83 cents a day. And I'm sure that we all can probably find 83 cents a day somewhere to throw into a piggy bank or throw into a bank account. If you round up to $1 a day, that's $365 for the year. And, you know, where that seems really easy, it's really about changing behavior. It's about spending $1 less, or looking at your budget and finding out, you know, where can I find, you know, this $7 a week to save. And it's just important to begin to start having that conversation, because I remember, you know, I didn't have that conversation growing up. You know, I had gotten into the habit of spending everything that I earned, because I just thought that's what I was supposed to do. It's what my family did, you know. And it took my personal finance coach in school to kind of like undress me in front of the class and help me really look at how I was spending my money and how I needed to change my behavior in order to be able to save. And that conversation has really stuck with me, and so we try to pass that down when we work with members of our Center for Working Families, just having that financial conversation.
And that's really important, because then you want your clients to pass it down to their children, so then it becomes a new conversation that's had throughout the generations. And so we talk about breaking you know, that cycle and improving you know, outcomes for kids later on in life. So that's really important. So tell me a little bit about some of your success stories. What are, you know, some of the folks that you've worked with and how they've benefited from the program and the services?
I have one, Jared, that I've been working with for about 3 years. Okay. And he has come so far and is just doing an amazing job of changing all kinds of things in his life, not just his finances. When he came to me in March of 2011, he wanted to purchase a home, and he knew that he needed to get his finances in order to be able to do that. And he has brought up his credit score almost 50 points. He's increased his net income over $1,000 a month.
Wow.
He started out and he has moved. He is in now a home that in January of 2015 he will be purchasing. He's been working not only with us, but with Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership and the Near North Community Development Center to make that happen. So he is very excited. I just met with him the other day, and he says, I can't believe how far I've come.
But you said 3 years. So
3 years. So
takes-
it's
a
not always
process.
it's not always
Yes.
a short-term
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's why we start with basic financial assessment, and then we look at where you are today and where you want to go and try to help you build a plan to get there.
Yep, and I think that's important because even for me, it's like, okay, 2014 is my year to, financially get it together, but I recognize that I have to start, and that has to, it has to build and build, and then it's something that I have to continue. I can't just do it, for the next 3 months, with my New Year's resolution, and then stop, because then my goals are never going to be met. So that's just kind of good to keep in mind and to reinforce that it's a process and it takes time.
It is a process.
Yeah.
And, again, back to the wraparound services, we try and catch every area. So, for example, one of my favorite stories that we have, and, one of our most successful, Miss Debria came in and she was in crisis, going through a horrible divorce, so part of it was just needing some support. She was living with her sister, and that was not going well. She needed to find her own place, but she was just a substitute teacher, limited income. So, in working with our income supports, looking at resources to help her get her previous light bill, that was $800 paid current, so that when she was ready to move, she would be able to get service, helping her find affordable housing, working with our employment coach to come up with a plan for the next bigger, better job. She eventually enrolled in a training program, or not a training, a certificate program. So she actually became a licensed teacher. So right, after 5 years, it took 5 years, and it wasn't that she had to be in our office every day, gradual steps. She's now a teacher and a homeowner, I remember the conversation our financial coach had with her about savings, and it was like, where's their money to save? And it was like, $5. Take $5 from every paycheck. Do what you can. And I'll never forget the voicemail. She was so excited. She opened a savings account with $25.
Wow.
And then with the additional resources of the IDA account, that just grew and grew and grew, so that, she had a couple $1,000s when she was ready to purchase her home. So it's just amazing what can happen when we wrap these, 3 core services around people.
And what is IDA?
That's an individual development account. It's
Okay.
a match savings program. That's for every dollar that the customer saves, they can get matched with 3. And there's a federal and a state program. And you can use it for purchasing a home, starting a business, or building a business,
Okay.
or for continued education.
Okay.
And so Jared also participated in the individual development account program.
Okay.
And he worked with our employment coach. So
Good deal. Yay.
We have similar stories as Hawthorne and Bonner. And I think that what's exciting is just being able to see people move on a continuum and see where they come in and they're in crisis and they don't know maybe even where their next meal is coming from, and being able to fill in the gap and begin to build a relationship so that they do trust you and want to build and want to work with you, so that they move from this situation that they're in to really being in a thriving or a stable situation. So I'm really excited about a lot of our clients. I just way too many to even pull out the details.
Hard, right?
It's really hard, but we've seen folk go from, like you said, they're in crisis, and now they're owning their own business, and they have utilized the individual development accounts, for the match account, for like 3 years, and reinvest or build the business that they started. And it is a continual process. It's not a 1-year thing or a 2-year thing. It's actually a lifelong thing.
It
When
is.
you think about it, it is a lifelong change. And you mentioned, maybe having a slip. Maybe I'm on this target of savings for 3 months, and then all of a sudden I fall off. The important thing is not that you fall off; it's getting back up. And you might have $10 less that you save or $20 less that you save, but if you get back on that wagon of saving, at the end you will still have a savings account at the end of the year.
And having regular savings is one of the most powerful financial tools you can have. Even if it's a small amount out of every paycheck, it is very powerful financial tool, and then sometimes you have that flat tire or something come along, it becomes an inconvenience still, but it's not a financial emergency. And it's just take it one step at a time. Don't look at that and say, I have to save $1,000 right now. Take it a step at a time, a dollar at a time, a penny at a time if you have to, but get in that regular habit of saving.
So what's your advice during tax season? Because tax season is a time where folks get lots of money, in some cases all at one time, in their tax refund. And we don't always do necessarily good financial stability, financial savings, financial wellness things with our tax checks. We want to buy new TVs and clothes and go on vacations. I'm guilty of that as well. So what advice would you ladies have?
I would say if you're a member of any of the Center for Working Families, I would say meet with your financial coach. Definitely meet with your financial coach. And while we can't tell you what to do, we will certainly give you the best advice and point you in the direction that we feel that you should go. But savings is always a key thing to do with your taxes. Put some money back. Take advantage of the match programs, the twin account program or the individual development account program, so that you can see your money grow. And if you want to start a business, you have that match account. You have that $4,000 that will assist you in doing that. But definitely meet with your financial coach and begin to start a savings program before you spend.
Meeting with a financial coach is great advice, and one of the things we encourage people to do is save a third, spend a third toward current wants and needs, and then take a third and use that maybe to pay off some old debt.
Okay.
So that gives you kind of 3 different things you can do with it, and you don't feel like, okay, I spent it all on debt, I spent it all on current, or I saved it all. You can give yourself a break. And
that's good advice, because it's no fun to have to pay off debt with your tax check.
We also suggest paying ahead on bills,
Yes.
rent, especially childcare, especially if over the last year or two, you've had many times where you haven't had rent or you've had to pay late. It's a good idea to pay up so that you have, that buffer. And if you don't have a financial coach, come find us,
Yes.
Let our financial coach help guide you in the best way, and we can't tell you what to do. We don't want to tell you what to do, but, we can give options. Hey, if you did this, maybe this will be there later. So it is a good time, and it's scary. I know I delay my refund because I know if it sits in the bank too long, it's going to go away a little bit at a time. So, I wait until I know exactly what I have to do with it. The minute it hits, boom, 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 I got to take care of it. Or, I know it's
tempting.
Easy. It is easy, especially if you have kids, and you want to do fun, nice things. But it's a good time to be smart with your money. There's so much you can do with that tax refund.
And just developing that plan so that you control the money and it doesn't control you is very important.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I think that's what it comes down to is we know it's coming, so start to plan and start to think, meet with somebody else who can give you an objective kind of overview and a big picture, and I think that's really helpful because it's hard.
And and they know about resources. We talk IDA, we talk twin accounts. Well, what is that? Come talk to our financial coaches so that they can inform you. Heck, I don't know all the stuff. I don't go to these financial meetings you guys have all the time. So, there's just so many resources out there that, the normal person doesn't know about.
And that's probably one of the greatest things that's hidden about the community centers is we have our own resources within our centers, but we also know of so many other resources in the community. So we can get you connected to other people if that's what you need.
Okay, so John H. Bonner, Hawthorne Community Center, Edna Martin Christian Center, the other 3 Center for Working Families program, Flanner House,
Yes.
Southeast Community Services, and Mary Ray.
And actually we have a 7th, Ivy Tech.
Ivy Tech, yes.
That's right.
That's right.
And okay, that's great. That's great to know, because that means, again, that families have lots of options of where they can access services based on the communities they live in, maybe the communities they work in. Sometimes it's easier for me to take care of sort of business close to where I work as opposed to where I live. So, any other last bit of information that you'd like to share, either about your what you do or your center services you have to offer?
I think that Dawn made a really good point in that we all are living what we're preaching. We all deal with finances every day. And so being a employee or a manager or a member of Center for Working Families, we are all like a family. And so we're not going to give someone advice that we wouldn't take ourselves. Right. We wouldn't tell you to do something that we wouldn't do. And so I think that brings some realness to what we do, and we take what we do very seriously. So.
Again, I would just stress the fact that our team are experts in this area. Our employment coach is an expert. She can, you may think, oh, right, I can get a job. Well, she's not here to just get you a job. She can help you. She has resources. She has employers. She can advocate for you. She can make sure you have the best resume, that you're promoting yourself in the best way. Once you have a job, then it's also about the next bigger, better job. We don't want to stop there. We want to, again, build wealth. It doesn't, stop at just, this next job. It's a continuous process. So, there may be lots of resources that our coaches are aware of that people just aren't. So come talk to us. If you're having a difficult time, no matter where it is or what it is, come talk to us and let us see if we can help.
Right.
And I agree with what was said earlier, that we all meet our customers where they are, and that it's so important to get a sense of who they are and what their families are, so that we can help them achieve their financial goals, achieve their life goals. And working as a team, we're able to provide the support that one of us alone could not provide.
That's right.
And I saw from the website the statistics that clients can come in, families can come in and access just one service or maybe two services, but the best approach and the greatest outcome and successes are when folks come in and access all of the services and take advantage of everything that is there. So I would just kind of like to end that by thanking you guys for being here today and for providing all of this information and sharing so much, and encouraging people to take advantage of the Center for Working Families programs that we have throughout our community at Edna Martin Christian Center, Hawthorne Community Center, and John H. Bonner Center, but then also 4 other sites, and to go in and to take advantage of all of the resources because they're there and there's no reason, and they're free, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
An investment of your time.
Yes.
There's an investment of your time.
And if that increases your credit score and gets you a home and better employment, I think that investment of time is probably worth it at the end of the day. So, and even if that means the end of the day is 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's putting us on a better path. So thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and look forward to seeing you again in the next episode. Thank you.